46222.
Don't hold me. Yeah.
What's the address for that? You don't remember me asking?
Oh, 1634.
We're not starting yet. We're just still setting up.
You got any other pictures or anything on
No, I asked Freddie for it. I can have him send it to you.
it? Yeah.
Hold on, go back. Let's see. Go down. What's his estimate? 46?
The estimate says 46.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, you can't ever base nothing off of that.
He wants 41. He's asking too much. I mean, for that, he said that's like to go buy a hole.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It's a 2-1. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? So, just so you guys know, the reason we're here today is because James actually suggested that we have this session. So
I'm happy to. I was like, I saw that you posted, like, yep, gotta go to that one.
Yeah, the topic, yeah, that's mine. So I figure a lot of people probably still need help with learning, knowing what these agreements and stuff are.
Right.
Yeah.
I think.
Are we still having another one this month? Or this
man, you know what? It's up to you guys. Like, I live close here, so I'm flexible. I'll leave it up to you guys. I do this stuff for you guys, so if it helps, cool. So of course, this one right here, this does not look like your traditional purchase agreement or purchase and sales agreement, and that's because it's not.
Is this the one you use, or is this an example?
This is one that I use for subject to properties. All right, so for a couple of, maybe about a few months ago, we went over subject to and how you can still do those deals.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one that I use for subject to. Now, to see the other ones that I use, I think I gave you guys a website.
Yeah.
Okay.
LillianBaptist.net/PA.
Yep. So you guys can go there. Anytime you guys can download all of the purchase agreements that I use. Okay. All right. So
Is yours something similar like that one?
my regular one.
Yeah.
No, here. I'll show it to you real quick.
Is that the one that my boy used that you use?
This one right here.
Yeah.
So if you
You
go
get
to
documents
that,
off of my board and stuff?
well, if you have
If you're
access
access to them?
to the realtor, that will give you one. If you guys go to the website, you'll see the one that says State PA blank. That's the one that my board uses.
Is it Leland? Oh, there it is. Well, no, it's not this
Yeah, but instead of trust, it's going to be PA.
PA blank.
/PA. Yep. So this one right here that you see on a website where it says purchase agreement improved property.
Uh-huh.
This is one that you can use for any property, of course, that is not the cookie cutter type of condition. But also, this is one you can also use for commercial too.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. You can use residential or commercial. And so this one's a little different from the standard my board one, but this is actually Indiana Realtors. Now, normally, it all depends on who you're dealing with, the type of realtor, all that stuff. There are some realtors that will get upset, like, how'd you get access to that, so all that kind of stuff. One of my realtors gave me this, and so that's that. Sorry about that. No worries, man. Here you are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But to make it easier, what we're going to do is we're actually going to start off with this one that you have in front of us. All right. So real quick, what do you notice about this one that is different from a traditional PA?
It's not asking the seller and buyer information at the top. No, it does. It's just structured.
What do you think is a little different from your regular purchase agreement that you get or use? There's no long answer.
What is earnest deposit? What does that mean by that?
That's a good question. What are you gonna say?
No, that was me, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, he was asking what an earnest
It's
deposit
kind
is.
of like a.
Did you want to answer it?
I would.
Go ahead.
Earnest deposit is money that you put down, agreeing to working with the seller, saying that you're going to agree to to purchase a property. If you back out, then that money that you put down goes to the seller.
Gotcha.
It shows that you're really serious about it.
So the earnest deposit is a deposit of good faith,
Yeah.
but it is not, believe it or not, it's not required by law that the money that is the earnest money goes to the seller.
Don't you have to have it in writing that it can go to the
If you
seller?
want to go to the seller, it has to be in writing.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you may have something that says upon non-performance, the earnest money can be deposited to the seller.
Right.
But normally the earnest money is something that goes towards what they consider a closing agent, which for our state is a title company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really good. So in our state, for a title company, they want a cashier's check normally, or you can wire it. Either or works for them. And what I do, unfortunately, this is very old school and weird.
Take it down there.
Yeah.
And I ain't mad at you.
I like to, this is weird, so if you ever see me in Kroger, this is what I'm doing. I like to go to Kroger, get a money order, put my little Kroger phone number in and get my discount, my money order, and I take that money order and say it's $1,000, and I take it down to the title company.
Okay.
You know, and then so, you know, with your money order, you can get your receipt, you know, like attached to it. So then I just write exactly which property it's for, and it's earnest money.
Perfect.
And then I get it scanned with the title company to give me a copy as well. And so then when I go home, I have manila folders of all the properties, and I put that. This is what I do. Yeah, I put that scanned part with the staple receipt of my copy in there. That's what I do. So I have that, and also the purchase agreement all in that one folder for that property. And then if I do inspections, everything's in that one folder. HUD statements, all that stuff.
Okay.
I know that sounds kind of weird. That's what I'm
That's the best way to do it.
That's old school file cabinet style.
Yeah, yeah. And for my printer, I can just run everything in the printer and just go sheet by sheet, and then I scan it into a digital format, and then go. All right. I can put them into my CRM.
I think one thing I see that I've looked at a few purchase and sale agreements, just trying to figure it out. Some of them been saying like they ask for the legal description of the property. I think this one doesn't ask for a legal description, and I don't think the legal description is like absolutely necessary as long as you have the street address. I mean, I could be wrong though.
So that's a good point. Legal description is necessary, but to substitute what this purchase agreement does, it has an APN, which would be the central of like a partial number.
Okay.
And so that partial, and so of course you guys know what partials are. So it's specific to that partial. All right, so let's run through this. So very top, very same, very traditional. It already has the and/or assigns. Some of the purchase agreements that I use, like let's say the state PA, I have to manually write in or type in and/or assigns. Okay, and of course you guys know the reason for that, right?
Right.
All right. And so then the next piece is, for instance, number one, the property. County, we get that. State, we get that. And then known as, that's the standard property address, so 123 Main Street. APN, that's the partial. Earnest money, you can write in whether it's a deposit check. This is for you, man. You write in whether it's a deposit check, promissory note, et cetera, okay? I always do a deposit. Now, the beauty with this whole thing is with this particular purchase agreement, you can use this purchase agreement to purchase a property with no money.
Oh, is it?
That's the way this entire thing is written. So it's saying even with the earnest money piece, if you chose, and if you guys negotiate ahead of time, then hey, listen, I'm going to buy your property. What I'm going to do instead is, you know, hey, I know you want $25,000. Let me give you guys an example of where you would use this. Let's say someone has a property, and this is the house. All right, that's the funny looking house. Let's say that this house has a mortgage of 50 grand. All right, let's say that they also pay $500 a month for that mortgage. That's the monthly payment. All right, they want to sell it, and maybe for whatever reason, this happens a lot. They want to sell it for $75,000, but no one has been willing to pay $75,000 for it. Okay, if someone were to pay $75,000 for this house, how much would the seller get? $25,000, right?
Right.
Plus or minus the fees associated with it. So let's say the sales price is $75,000. But what if you want to be creative and you don't want to use any cash associated with it? Well, one, they have a mortgage here. Two, that extra $25,000 could be put in the form of a promissory note, right?
Oh, okay.
It could be put in the form of a second mortgage, or what they call a seller carryback. A lot of times in commercial real estate transactions that people see, those guys, well, it's more creative. People aren't necessarily paying $12 million for a deal. What the deal actually looks like, if you look closely into it, is it may be recorded at the title company that it's a $12 million transaction. But what may have happened is maybe $6 million of that is in the first lien. Kind of like this one. First lien is $50,000. So maybe that's the first lien. Then maybe also there's a promissory note for a second of $2 million. And that's the second mortgage. Still no money has been transpired. All right? And then maybe also there's a third on here for, let's say something larger, not E. Let's say $4 million, okay? And all these things can be things that are just paid. So maybe someone's paying X amount a month for this one, X amount a month you got me in this payments. So maybe for the second and third, someone says, hey, I'll give you this money, but it'll be over time. So I'll give you this $6 million, this additional $6 million, but only if, that makes more sense. Only if it's over 24 months. All right? Or someone may say, hey, I'm willing to go ahead and give you $6 million, but I'm only give you $50,000, but it's going to be $500 over 10 years. Okay? And what that really is that's a no interest loan. The person in their mind, all they're hearing is $500 a month. But for you, the benefit is you're not paying any interest. This is a straight line calculation. All right? So, what this says here is, so for A, it says earnest money deposit. That could be a promissory note or it could be a deposit check. B, it has down payment balance at closing. Down payment. Your down payment on this deal, it could be 25 grand. All right? Unless you have an approximate or exact. What I do for properties that are in foreclosure, I make the down payment amount for B, I make that the reinstatement fee. Okay? We'll put it just so for a quick review. Who here knows what a reinstatement fee? Who does not know what a reinstatement fee is? Want me to explain it? Okay. All right. Here we go. Hypothetically, not hypothetically. I mean, this is common, at least for my business. What will happen is let's say John. There's a guy named John, and John's in foreclosure. What is foreclosure technically? It is just when someone misses a payment. Right?
Yeah.
In Indiana, we're in a judicial state, which means that a foreclosure proceeding does not start until the third missed payment. Good information to know, right?
Yeah.
So, John is 4 months behind. Let's say he got a letter in the mail, he's 4 months behind. Let's say John's mortgage is $500 a month. And you guys are like, what? I see people in foreclosure for $200 a month. All right. So what's 4 times 5?
2,000.
$2,000 bucks. All right. Now, to get his mortgage back on track, it would be $2,000 bucks plus their fees, late charges, attorney charges, etc., etc. Well, this amount to get back on track is called the reinstatement fee. That's where they reinstate the loan.
Okay.
Okay. So what I would do for a lot of times if someone who's in foreclosure is I will go ahead and write this exact agreement. So in this example, I would probably put the earnest money as $100 bucks. I don't do large amounts for earnest money either.
Oh, you don't?
No.
As like the buyer.
As a buyer, yeah.
As a buyer.
Go ahead.
Why do realtors, because my realtor, when I was trying to do a loan, was asking for like a loan for like $500 to $1,000.
Well, okay, so here's the deal.
They say it makes you look more serious if you put a larger amount down.
Realtors, so one thing, here's something that's interesting. It's a realtor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does a realtor own the property?
No.
Does a realtor have control of the transaction?
Mm.
Not really. So one of the things that the realtor tries to do to enforce their superiority on the transaction is try to, be a big dog on the earnest money. Earnest money never goes to the seller anyway. And I don't do deals where a seller says, "Hey, I need the earnest money to be non-refundable." I'm like, I'm good. There's plenty of deals out here where I don't even have to put $100 down. I can put a baseball card, right? Earnest money can be anything that is considered a value.
It could be it could be a quarter.
It could be a quarter,
a penny, whatever it is.
It could be a Pokemon card. Okay,
Right.
Seriously, because this is just in good faith. Unless it is written that this earnest money is non-refundable.
Why do they do that, the non-refundable?
Because they probably had experiences where people have submitted offers over and over again, or tied up their property in a written agreement, and maybe they never put down the earnest money, or maybe it never came through. And so to try to force your hand to the fire, they're gonna try to make you commit by making your money non-refundable, by making all this other stuff. And so I don't do that. But that's a good question. So yeah, that's why a realtor would do that. It's because they're trying to force your hand. So I won't worry about it too much. There's tons of deals out here. So yeah, and so I do like $100 earnest money. The reason being is because I'm doing multiple offers on different things. I'm not gonna do $1,000 for every single offer. That's silly. So I do $100, and the next thing that I'll do is for this one, if it's this deal. For B, the down payment, I'll put approximately, and I'll put it as $2,000.
So whatever they owe.
Whatever they owe is reinstatement fee, then you put it for the, okay.
For the down payment.
Right.
And because it's approximately because interest and fees, they're behind. So let's say we close on the 15th. Well, it's going to be whatever.
Prorated.
Yeah, prorated to the 15th.
Right.
God forbid we don't close until next month. It's going to be prorated until next month.
Right.
All right. And so then right here, C, it says new loan. It says proceeds of new loan to be executed by buyer to any lender other than seller. Okay. I rarely ever had to make a second mortgage with the seller. Does that make sense? So like if this guy's in foreclosure and he says, Leland, I'm okay with you buying my house, but I know that, because my house is in bad condition, because it's in foreclosure, yada yada, I know I can't get a lot of money for it right now, but could we strike up an agreement to where within 10 years you can pay me an additional $30,000, right? I've never had to do that, but that's an option that's here. All right, that's C is for. All right, and it says D, take title subject to an existing first trust. D, no. So essentially, that mortgage, that whatever this is, let's say this is $100,000 that he owes. Okay. So I'm gonna take for D. So C, I put nothing. For D, I'm gonna go ahead and put the mortgage that he owes. Okay, that's gonna be $100,000. This example. Then when it says held by, let's say it's Bank of America, so we'll put BOA there. With approximate amount of $100,000 and payable monthly until paid, and let's say we said $500 was his monthly, so I'll put $500. And then interest not to exceed whatever. So if whatever his interest rate is, and let's say it's 4%. Okay. E, which is take title subject to second trust or note. I don't do it because here's the deal with debt and capital structures, especially for mortgages. What's the most important? So let's say this is the first loan. Let's say this is the first mortgage. Excuse me. Second mortgage. Third mortgage. Okay. Which one of these mortgages is most important?
The first.
The first.
Yeah.
So, pardon my French, I don't give a fuck about the second or third. Because here's the deal. Is this mortgage in my name?
No.
Nah. It's not. Is this mortgage in my name?
No.
Is this one? No. So I don't care. I don't care. Now, granted, it means it's less equity, but if my goal is to hold this property for a long period of time, I'm more concerned about the first mortgage. Also because most likely they're in foreclosure. Who are they in foreclosure with? The first.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't worry about that. And I never ever, if let's say they one of the ones I did earlier this year, they owed money on their roof, right? So that would be considered a second note because they had put a lien against the property because of the roof. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm not signing on to that. And their attorney asked me if I would sign on to it. I said no. You must think I'm stupid. It's like no.
So, but when that lien still stay there, or
Yeah, that lien will stay there. That lien will stay there against that property until someone pays it.
yeah, but
But if you're holding it, then you don't care about it. But what if you're trying to do it as a flip for sale?
If I want to sell this, I would just have to know that if I ever wanted to sell this,
You're gonna have to take care of it.
I would have to sell it for more than what's on it
To compensate for it.
to compensate. Yeah, to pay this off.
so in other words, if you sell it, you all automatically paid up. Couldn't the person who holds the second lien come back and do a foreclosure on it, or mechanical, or what are you gonna call it?
The mechanical
So
lien
mechanical lien is already there.
Is the second mortgage.
That's how it got recorded in Indiana.
But they can't.
So a mechanical lien just means that a contractor normally did work on the property, and the person who owned that property didn't pay that contractor. So the county allows that contractor to go downtown with their contract, hopefully, pay $46.50 and record a mechanics lien against that property. As a way to say, hey, you didn't pay me, and hopefully, if you ever try to sell this property or whatever else, I get paid in the process. But see, there's a few ways around this. What I normally do for these properties is I go ahead and I'll do a lease option with someone, either a lease option or a land contract or something of that sort. And let's say this is $100,000. Let's say altogether this is 120. When I do seller financing with someone who wants to live in that house and rent it out and pay it off, do you think I'm gonna do it at $100,000?
No,
You
no.
do it for 120 or more.
I might do it, yeah, absolutely. So at that point, I'll do it for 140. So in the event that person does want to go ahead and actually buy it, they're gonna buy it and pay all three of them. Yeah, I'm not worried about the second and third. They're never in my name ever. And the property itself, after when I purchase it, the property itself goes into a trust. So good luck finding out who owns that shit. Yeah, you won't see my name nowhere near it.
Right. And they're not even, they're probably not even gonna invest in that because that's gonna be money to try to figure out who it is.
Absolutely.
They ain't got the money to pay for all that. They ain't gonna have to know money to do anything else.
And even if they did, even if they found out that that the trust was owned by somebody in Florida, so then what you can do? Because normally these second and third liens are normally against this guy's credit report. It's already been tied to someone. If you try to come after someone else, you need to let him go now. You can't have both. Because I, or the person in Florida, never co-signed for this loan or this lien when it originated, right? That's like them trying to get me for your dad. For what? Because I know him? No, it's not how that works. All right. So that's the same thing for E and F. Promissory note, once again, is if you choose to do a promissory note, right? I have not had to do it. Other encompasses on the record, that would be for our example of the
roof.
like the roof. Could be someone's IRS taxes. Did you know if you take subject to someone's property and they owe the IRS, you can call them and say, hey, listen, I want you to be aware that they sold this property, and the person who that lien is in the name of has no rights to the property. The IRS will actually let that go.
Are you serious?
Yeah, very serious.
They'll let the whole debt go, or
No,
they'll let
no, 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 no,
you
no. They'll take it off that property
off the property itself
because the title has changed. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. That debt is still with that person.
But they'll
So-
just take it off of the property,
Off
so
the
it doesn't show up
property.
anymore because it's not your name.
Now, will the county do the same thing? Because will the Marion County do the same thing?
For what?
Like-
Taxes?
For the
Well,
mechanics?
not taxes, like it have like, what they call it, when you, like, fines and stuff like that.
The mechanics liens and stuff?
Fines as in
Like-
someone didn't pay their
Taxes or
like state
RAS,
taxes.
yes, I mean,
Or property tax.
property tax or,
No, because that's the property tax stays with the property.
Yeah. But a HOA would count as that too then, right?
HOA
As a
will stay with
second-
the property
It
as
stays
well.
with the property too.
Mhm.
So if the HOA has a lien against the property, that stays with it?
Yep.
So then are you responsible, or the person in Florida responsible for that? Or is
That so
you're the new homeowner, so I would assume that you're responsible now.
well, for HOA, you would just pay the HOA fee. I've never seen any.
Yeah, but I know, but
Absorb the
sometimes
HOA
there's,
fee.
I'm a president of my HOA, and I know I got people that owe $1,200 or more.
That's not a lot of money though.
I know, so would you pay that off, or would that?
I'll
Yeah.
pay the HOA. I'll pay the HOA.
Or you would just factor it into the deal, essentially.
Hell yeah,
Like, you know,
because
or any
here's some-
unpaid taxes factored into the deal.
Yeah.
here's something we didn't factor in. Remember we talked about the option fee?
mhm.
If let's say they have HOA, well let me make sure my option fee can just cover your HOA. So if it's $1,200, then in order to get an option to purchase this, you're gonna have to pay $2,000, and then that $2,000 is the HOA fee. But yeah, HOA fees normally are not.
So that's a subject to
That's
you
the
purchasing, right?
Yep, and that's what you use this agreement for. So right here for 3, it says buyer will pay closing costs. If they're in a foreclosure situation, I try to make it so that they don't have to come to the table with any money.
Right.
So I just I write in buyer pays all closing costs. Okay. So everything else in here, prorations and loan balances, payment of expenses, all that is typical. So of course you're gonna prorate your insurance, all that stuff. Look at number 6 though. It says if buyer fails to perform, then all closing costs incurred by the seller will be deducted from buyer's earnest money deposit. And read it again. If buyer fails to perform, then all closing costs incurred by seller will be deducted from buyer's earnest money. Now, if seller fails to perform for any reason, all loan obligations, fee obligations, appraisal fees, survey fees, credit report costs, application costs, sales processing, and closing costs incurred, whether the same were to be paid by seller or buyer, will be the responsibility of seller.
So you're making sure that person knows that.
Right.
Yeah.
Go through this.
Like if you
Now here's the deal, check this out. That first line, if buyer fails to perform, if I fail to perform, then all closing costs incurred, so let's say closing fees. Now let me say this, I have never had a title company come after me and say, Leland, that deal you sent, it fell apart the last minute. I need to go ahead and charge you, our closing costs of what would have happened if it went through. Never had someone say that. I have had someone say, Leland, the deal fell apart last minute, and the buyer was someone in Texas. I need someone to pay or cover the notary fee. Okay, all right. It's like $160. And when I said, I said, sure, take it out of the next closing. He said, don't worry about it. But that's the only time I've ever had something like that happen. But if it did happen, what I'm saying is my responsibility as a buyer is take it out of the 100. Okay, fine. But if they back out,
That's a lot.
there's a lot.
they have to pay. Oh
They
my
pay a lot.
gosh, yeah. All right. It says buyer will be entitled from seller to return of all buyer's earnest money deposit. Okay, so the whole non-refundable thing.
That is the buyer backs out.
Yeah, if I back out, if there were any fees incurred for closing costs, then I'll pay for it. So in other words, if the title company, let's say they ran a title search, and that may cost $46, well, that will come out of my earnest money if the title company wants to.
If they choose to.
If they choose to.
If they choose
Most
to.
of them won't. All right. Would destroying organism report, that's an easy out for you as a buyer. Title examination, place and time for closing. this is another out for you as well. But this is where you go ahead and you write when you want that closing to take place, in that little line right there. So let's say October 15th. You put that there. 9. One of the things with subject twos is that if they've already vacated the house, they may not have the keys. That's like a legit thing. Like sometimes they really don't have the keys. Whether they do have the keys, you want to make sure that they bring the keys to closing, or during your inspection process, that you've already put the key into a lockbox for your contract or whatever. Right? But anyway, if they, what I do here is I check off both of these. So the seller shall surrender possession of the property on day of closing. I also check off this other one, which is in the event possession is not delivered at the closing, buyers shall withhold proceeds from selling the amount of blank, all right, as security. I check off both of those. Loss of damage, easy out for you. Property condition inspection, super easy out for you. It says as is, but it's also up to your discretion, okay? Personal property, this basically just lets them know that whatever fixtures are in the house, they have to stay. All right?
Oh, whatever's in there?
Yeah, whatever's in there.
Yeah, so you can't fix it up, or
No,
are you
no,
talking about like furniture or anything
No,
like that?
well, not necessarily furniture, but let's say it's a ceiling fan. Like that ceiling fan is still there.
Okay.
You know?
Water heaters, furnace.
Oh my
You can't do
gosh, water heater is still there.
Copper
AC units are
pipes.
still there. Yes.
Everything stays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the stuff that's built into the
Right.
property should stay.
I do for your for your inspection time period. Is that number 11?
Yeah.
How long do you usually do for that?
You know what? So all right. You have look at number 8 and read B. It says if title evidence or survey reveal any defects which render this unclear, buyer will have 7 days from receipt of title and survey to notify seller that such title defects and seller agrees to cure and blah 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 within 30 days. If that happens, that buys you time, okay? But normally what I'll do is I'll ask for 15 days.
15.
15
What's
days.
it, is that the norm? 15 or 30?
Normal. But here's the deal. Think about this.
I ask for 30
When
and
someone-
try to get as much as possible.
Yeah, and there's no.
You can ask for whatever.
I
essentially,
ask
do
it's not
whatever.
anything, no limit set to it, but you can ask for 30 and if they say no and want to negotiate down, then that's fine. But if they say okay and don't do it, then
Just
you got
keep
30
moving.
days.
Right.
So I say I start at 30 and try to let them work me down.
Mhm. What's up, bro?
Hey, right.
So the thing about it is, most FHA, like appraisals and inspections, all that stuff, you're looking at least 15 to 30 days right there on a traditional sale.
And it's 45 days for the 204,
For 203,
203K.
there you go. That's even longer, my lord. That can really mess up something.
Yeah, it's messing up first.
203K. All right, so next, 16 promissory note. I'll leave that there. What's important with subject 2 is number 17, existing financing. So it says buyer will be taking the property subject to deed of trust existing on the property and the underlying existing loans, and is not especially assuming responsibility to a formal assumption of said loan. All right. So even if I said, hey, I'm assuming your loan, what I'm really doing is I'm taking over your property subject to the existing mortgage that you already have in place. All right. They changed it where you can't really assume loans anymore. You can for commercial, but not really for residential. And so what that says here, in the second sentence, it says commencing on. So I get to choose that date. Okay. So yeah, although we're closing September 15th, I may say I'm not going to take over this loan and start making payments until October 1st, November 1st. It's all in negotiation. What if I told this guy, hey, listen, I'll give you a month to move. I'm not paying his mortgage and letting his ass stay there for free.
Right.
He's already been doing that.
Right.
So at that point, I may say, listen, today is September. You guys can have a month to move. But on here, I'm putting October. You see what I'm saying? October 15th, something like that. All right. Everything else here is, of course, the number one important one is the assignment piece. Parties here to agree that buyers shall have the right to assign this agreement and the terms and provisions hereof shall be binding upon and incur to the benefit of the parties hereto, their successors, representatives, heirs, and assigns. All right? So that just allows you to sign it. The reason that the social is put here, social date of birth, well, let me ask you guys, why do you think that I would want the seller to put their social date of birth here?
So you can check their information towards that.
No? What if they back out last minute? What if someone who's in foreclosure is like real emotional, right? Did you know that in order for anyone to put a judgment on you, they have to have your social? Like,
Oh yeah.
I can't just pursue you. I could, but it's gonna be a lot of paperwork and getting you to agree to stuff. Yeah.
Right.
But if I don't have your social,
Yeah.
Good luck.
yeah, I mean, you can send me a mail, but
But
I
you-
mean, I'll just throw it away. If I have your social, then let's say I was gonna make 10 grand off of this deal, I may be able to put this against your property, or I may be able to put this against you, depending if there's a debt collector who's willing to take this contract because it's binding. All right. Any questions so far on this one? Yes, sir.
Can you use? I know this is like you mainly talking about subject to. Could you also use this as a wholesale?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Like-
The assignment line.
That's the assignment line.
Yes, sir.
My next question was, if you can assign it, can you market this property though?
Yes.
I mean, you actually be marketing the contract, but
What's that?
you be marketing the contract itself.
Yeah, I know you're marketing the contract. I didn't know if it had to be in
I'm
here.
marketing. Well, here's what I tell the homeowners. I work with investors, and we're always looking for more deals. A lot of times, what I do is I like to partner with other investors in my deals. So I'm gonna have some of my investors come over and also check out the property. Probably 3 or 4, and that way we can put our money together. The sooner we can all agree to it, the sooner we'll all be able to go ahead and get you out of foreclosure. Or, hey, listen, I like everything on paper. I'm still gonna have my contractor come out and verify everything. So not this week, but maybe Monday and Tuesday of next week, I'll have a few contractors come out and get bids. The reason I'm gonna have more than one contractor is so I can get the best bid possible, but it be as competitive as possible. They don't know. I mean, and even if they did, tough titty, because you know what? If they do back out, that's on them.
So that's right there for me.
That's on them. Yeah.
Right.
There's a contract. So here's the next one we're gonna go over, which is called the notice of option. And this notice of option is
Are you recording this?
yeah, it's recorded. Yeah. So the next one we're gonna go over is called the notice of option, and this one is real slick. What you want to do with this one is you want to have a notary nearby. Well, not nearby, you want to have a notary there.
So are you saying that you don't necessarily need to tell them that you're going to wholesale or anything?
Nope.
Not in the state of Indiana, or
Huh?
not in Indiana at least, or
Because the contract says assigns. And I know people are like,
Now,
well,
do you put up in the head where it says buyer, your name is and or sign, or you don't have to worry, just put your name?
well, in that one it's already written
Okay.
and or assigns.
sorry.
But the state one, you have to go ahead and write and or slash assigns. And slash or assigns.
Oh, I rather use this one.
Yeah, I've been looking at some like, oh, which one is? I've been this
I'm gonna
one.
print this next one.
Man.
I like how this is also just a speaking. I like
This
how
is so simple right here.
It's so simple. I like how it says agreement,
Mm-hmm.
because I think if you are going to someone and it says contract, I think the word contract has a little bit more
intimidation.
intimidation for
Yeah.
it. But if you say this is just an agreement,
Yeah.
and you know walk them through it, I think it's gonna be a little bit better.
Well, like that one I told you, the guy rescheduled, and I gotta chase him down to try to get him to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to figure out, like, how am I gonna explain to him, like, okay, I'm going to try to hold some of this, but I guess I really want to.
I mean, you can, as Leland said, he's like, if you give it to him, he's like, you know, I want to buy this property, but I also work with other investors. I would, depending on the numbers, I would buy this, but if not, there's other investors that will want to buy it. So I think if you're selling it, all they hear is, I want to get paid.
As long as I get paid.
Well, I don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, you have all this. As long as I get paid.
And you can always say, instead of investing, you say, I have other partners that
Other
also
partners.
invest with me.
You're right.
And
Like, I got my
Yeah,
partner.
then
Right.
we're gonna come back and take a
Because
look.
I was been trying to figure out with the one that I've been trying to chase down, if I need to explain to him, like, hey, I don't really plan on closing. Like, I will if I have to, but I'm planning this wholesale it to somebody. But I don't know how to explain that to him without him trying to be like, well, you're going to try to get more.
yeah, I got you.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's where, when I talked to him and I was trying to invest, and I told him, I was like, yeah, blah, blah, and then he's just like, oh, yeah, well, if you get more money for it, then go ahead and let me know. It's like, that's not what I was saying.
No.
So that's why I'm trying to figure out how to kind of work that and how you get that through.
What you can
Or do you even need to?
What you can do is you can always ask the title company, hey, let's say you're making $50,000 off an assignment fee, and you don't want that. You don't want the seller to see that. Okay, you can ask the title company and say, hey, listen, can I have a seller friendly HUD statement and a buyer friendly HUD statement? And then you're like, what the hell? You get a seller friendly HUD statement, it's only going to show what the seller is closing. Like, so let's say, I'll show you guys an example. Let's say it's $100,000. It's going to show their taxes being prorated, and them taking whatever they're taking home. Okay. Then the buyer side is only going to show what's necessary for the buyer. You making your 50 grand, neither person will see it. But you have to tell the title company up front.
Seller friendly, what is it?
Seller friendly.
HUD statement.
HUD statement?
Yes, sir.
Shit, I need him when I do
And that was a buyer friendly.
Yeah, help the friendly seller and the buyer seller, or friend.
Cause I was gonna say do a double close, that way you don't know how much you make, but this is even better.
Yeah, because the double close, then you still gotta come out. And the double close, you gotta pay the closing costs for the first one, and then.
So I can go straight down to either one and just fax my paperwork and once I sign the contract, fax and start doing a title search and all that good stuff.
You can open up escrow by just either, if you got a relationship with the escrow company or the title company, you can just usually call them up and tell them, send them your purchase agreement.
What about your first time?
And that way, if it's your first time, they'll probably need a little more information, but I just spoke one today and I asked them that same question and they told me like, oh yeah, you can just email us your purchase agreement or bring it in and we'll scan it and get your, as long as we got your company information, all that, your address, that's all we need to open it up.
All right.
And
You guys want to look at this
to open up.
on your computers or your phones? You go to lelandbaptist.net/.